before in the beginning of the episode, I will focus only. Wait, wait, guys, there's no way. There's no way I'm gonna make a mistake in every single episode. There's no way. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Like I said before. Hello, lovers, and welcome back to another episode of Starring Cupid, Starring Me. It's your boy, Zama.x, nothing more, nothing less, from the east, not the west. Every day, try your best. And today's the finale. Guys, I'm sorry, I keep saying these things to you, and I should clearly not be. But yes, another Friday, another episode. This one being our season finale. Insert that audience clip of people being sad that like, oh, yeah. Do not despair though for too long, because this is simply me taking a small hiatus. I believe that as content creators, used very loosely, as content creators, you have to constantly take a step back just to like of the scene, because I feel like when you're doing this, when you're constantly doing this week in and week out, you're not actually taking that time to kind of enjoy it a bit. And I've been putting out a lot of content because I was trying to see how people would receive me, and judging from the numbers and the positive feedback, I can only assume that I'm being received well, but I still need the break. You know what I mean? To kind of like sit in it, to kind of make new plans for you guys, just to be a better content creator for y'all. And on that note, thank you so much to everyone that listens and has supported the podcast these past month. It's been a month. It's been more than a month. You are all gems, and I appreciate you for wanting to listen to me just rant for 30 minutes at a time. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm going to return shortly with your season 2. Hopefully I would have watched more stuff so I could bring you more content. And even now I've already started watching like a bunch of stuff. So right now, at this very moment that I'm saying this, season 2 is definitely happening. If anything pops up, I'll let you guys know. But that's the word from me on period. Season 2 is coming. For now, let's draw our focus back to the subjects of today's episode. We are talking about Chiron Kevin from the Oscar Best Picture winning film Moonlight. This film is lovely. It is one of my favorite dramas. I was about to say it's one of my favorite dramas, even though I don't like the genre, and for some reason my mouth failed. But yes, it's one of my favorite dramas. I was captivated the whole time when I watched it the first time, because I watched this person go through this whole journey that felt realistic for a lot of young black people in America, especially young black queer people in America. The love story in the middle of all of this is also worth looking at, even though it made me a bit angry. I'm gonna stop spoiling and I'm gonna get straight into this. This is Chiron and Kevin. This movie was made in 2016 and was directed and written by Barry Jenkins. For most people, myself included, Moonlight was the first project we'd seen from Jenkins. He was an active director at the time, but he wasn't making anything that had the impact that Moonlight had, or like had the numbers that Moonlight had. So this was our first black movie from him. I say first, very loosely. He later went on to make If Beale Street Could Talk, which was also quite a hit cinematic in the theaters, cinematically. Wow. I look forward to watching the other projects that come from him, because I think he's pretty brilliant. If we're going off these last two movies, I think he's just a brilliant mind, and I'm excited for what else he has to bring to us. The screenplay was also written by Jenkins, but the story came from an unpublished play done by Terrell Alvin McCraney. I like how this story is different. I hate the word different, but different, and it's necessary. We haven't gotten any mainstream films with queer black men as the lead. You know what I mean? And one of my highlights with films by Jenkins is the cinematography. Not to sound like that kind of movie person, that movie watcher, but his close-up shots of people's faces, they say so much. They're personal and kind of intentional. Not kind of, they're intentional. They give us this look, this direct and intimate look into how a person is feeling during moments of stress or like pain or even happiness. Sometimes he captures black joy very well, and I really do like that about his films. Shout out to James Laxton, who was the cinematographer on this film. They did a great job. A special shout out to whoever decides on the lighting for scenes. I'm not a very good movie person. I feel like this whole entire podcast is me compensating for being a very bad movie person. But I don't know the name for that person. Forgive me if I'm mistaken. But I think they're called gaffers. I'm not completely sure. I really don't know. Something like that. But I really liked how this movie used the lighting to their full advantage. I never considered the effect that lighting has on a scene, aside from things being dark or light. Like the colors, the timing was perfect, near damn perfect. So I appreciate that. I really liked that. Black boys do look wonderful in the moonlight and the blue light. Onto our cast. This part was difficult because this film follows one person at 3 different stages of their life, and each stage is portrayed by a different actor. So I'm going to name all 3 for the purpose of the movie, to like help you understand who I'm talking about at any given time. Right? Okay. Portraying our lead character, Chiron, we have Alex R. Hibbert, Ashton Sanders, and then Trevante Rhodes. I feel like I said that weird. Trevante Rhodes. There we go. Feels better. Hibbert represents his childhood stage, and he goes by the name Little. Sanders represents his teen years when he goes by Chiron, and Rhodes is him as an adult when he's just simply known as Black. All 3 of them did a lovely job. This was Hibbert's first role, I think, first cinematic debut, so he was lovely. I liked all 3 of them. They did wonderful work with this character. Fun fact, they didn't meet until the end of production, and they weren't allowed to see each other's portrayals of Chiron because Jenkins wanted them to have their own interpretation of him. and I think it worked very well. It did the movie good to have that. Somehow, some way, Rhodes and Sanders ended up having such similar mannerisms, like the way, I'll talk about it in the second part, but you'll see what I mean when you watch the movie. Like, just look at how Sanders portrays Chiron and then look at how Rhodes does it. It's like they were watching each other, which is super cool. Then we have our love interest, Kevin, portrayed by Jaden Piner, Gerald Jerome, and Andre Holland. Piner represents his childhood, Jerome is his teen years, and Holland is him as an adult. They were also great, fantastic people. But I have serious beef with teenage Kevin. It's so bad. It got to the point where I wasn't able to look at Jerome without getting mad all over again. Like, you know, the way people used to get mad at actual actors about their roles in like a soapy, and like they'd ask them life jive, like, hey boo, why are you doing this to like, if I had to ever meet Gerald Jerome, I'd be like, oh my gosh, hi, huge fan. Listen, Kevin, teenage Kevin, oh my goodness, this is complicated as well, because I think that Gerald Jerome is a lovely actor and person. I love him dearly. I swoon every time I see him. So it's hard to be, I guess, in love with someone who low-key makes you mad. Like, I just want to be like, you're such a hot, lovely individual. But oh my gosh, Kevin. I'll explain why he makes me mad in the second part. For the purpose of this episode, I shall be heavily referring to the pair during their teen and adult years, because there's not much to discuss about them as children. Also, I don't want to talk about children. So yeah, focus on teen to adult Kevin and Chiron. Notable mentions on this cast are full of great people. We have Mahershala Ali, Naomi Harris, Janelle Monáe. I love all three of them individually and together in this. Fun fact, Mr. Ali was only in this film for about, I think they said 20 minutes, and he won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. It's the power for me. I don't know about the other nominees. I don't know who they were. I don't know what movies they were in, but I get it. I understand it. He deserved it. They're all, but yeah, all the notable mentions, they're all quite fantastic in this for their own reasons. I really enjoyed their performances. Now, if you have never watched this movie or you haven't seen it yet, is what I'm going to say, I highly recommend it. Highly. I've seen that there are a handful of people that don't enjoy it after they see it, and it's like people that I thought would enjoy movies like this, and that might happen to you as well, viewer, listener. That's fair. I can't expect everyone to love every movie, so it's fair, but this is one of those movies where it's good enough to try. Like, you might not like it at the end, but I promise you it's not a waste of your time. So if you haven't, here's a basic plot summary. The story follows a young black man who resides in Miami as he deals with his identity and sexuality. I want to call it a coming of age story, but that doesn't feel right either, and it also feels like I'm reducing what happens, because there's a lot that happens. Obvious spoiler alert, he forms a love connection with one of his closest friends, and you'd think happily ever after for them. But there's a lot that happens before that happily ever after. Real big thing, trigger warning for the viewers, for the listeners, because I never want people to listen to me and feel attacked, even though I'm not the one attacking them. I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable or remind anybody about uncomfortable situations. But yeah, so trigger warning, there's a lot of homophobia in this film. A lot. It's pretty violent, and in order to talk about this couple properly, I might have to refer back to it. That's just a quick heads up in case you want to stop listening now. This is the time. That being said, let's get into Chiron and Kevin. Okay, like I said before in the beginning of this episode, I'll focus mainly on their relationship from teens to adults. I did enjoy their friendship as children, though. It felt like Chiron and Kevin had each other's backs during that time. We never really find out if Kevin knew why kids were bullying Chiron so heavily, but he stood up for him, and he kind of encouraged him to fight back instead of taking the high road. So I do think that they were close as children, and I'm glad they had that foundation to work up of. They obviously grew up to be semi-close friends when they were teens, as we see in the second act. At that point in the story, Chiron's life is pretty shitty. His home and school life is quite chaotic. And because of that, I think it makes him even more shy and more soft-spoken than he usually is. We see that he finds comfort or peace around two people, and that's Teresa, played by Janelle Monáe, who I saw as being almost a second mom, not even almost, being like a second mother to Chiron. And then we have seemingly his only friend, Kevin. Teenage Kevin is still similar to baby Kevin. He's rowdy, he's full of himself half the time, and he's always talking shit. He's that friend that people have. Their friendship during that time, it doesn't go beyond trivial things. And when I say trivial, I mean Kevin would come to Chiron and brag about girls he was getting and other kind of silly things like that. When they interact, and especially in that scene that I'm speaking about, when we see teenage Kevin for the first time when they're at school, when they interact, you can see this look of longing in Chiron's face half the time. Anytime that Kevin was around him, there was just this look in his face that I wanted to capture, and I wanted to bottle it up because it's so adorable how much he wanted him. Does that make sense? It will later, but I'm just saying that now. He just always had that look of longing on his face whenever they spoke. We know that he feels something for his friend. We weren't certain what it is, but we knew it was something. I got excited when everything changed on the beach, and you know what I'm saying when I'm talking about the beach. In this scene that became this huge thing, actually, Chiron and Kevin they're casually talking. They're just speaking their minds, but they have a chat. They're opening up to each other, and I think that's the first time in the film that Chiron is openly speaking about his problems. He doesn't name them, all of them, but he's just speaking his mind, and just openly, for the first time, I just realized that I said my sentence but backwards. Anyway, one of the major themes of this story is vulnerability, specifically vulnerability in black men, but vulnerability nonetheless. Emotional vulnerability for when it comes to Chiron. And in that scene when they're on the beach, it's as vulnerable as it gets. I want to confess something to you guys. I can't say vulnerable. I can't say vulnerable. Like, I can say it and you can hear what I'm trying to say, but if you make me say it slowly, you'll see that I'm actually just mumbling my way through the rest of the word. I don't actually say it. There's probably a perfect way to say it, and I know that I'm not saying it. And this word is going to show up so much in this episode, so bear with me. Now you know my deep dark secret. Thanks for keeping it. Sorry, where was I? Yeah, I was happy for Chiron because when you're someone who has such serious problems, the last thing you need from someone that you're talking to is for that person to reply, "Wow, hectic, bruh, LOL," and just carry on moving. And you get people like that. You get people that just say that, and I get it. I understand that not everyone is, I don't want to say emotionally intelligent, but not everyone has the capacity to say the right thing when you run to them, and that's fine. But it's very lovely when you meet someone that doesn't just do that. So someone that is going to provide that emotional support that you need, and they'll try to understand you. And I think that's what Kevin was. Or I thought that's what Kevin was, because he had it all going. He was a good listener. He's known Chiron for their whole lives, and he wasn't making Chiron feel bad about being vulnerable. Then that went to shit. Hence why I get mad when I see Jerome. Like, sidebar, let's talk, guys. Why did Kevin do that? Like, yes, fine, peer pressure. Like, yes, he didn't want to look bad in front of people. Okay, fine, whatever. But why? Why every time I root for someone to win, they do shit like this? And I have to ask, what was the reason? What did you gain from that? He could have stopped after he punched him the first time. He punched him 3 whole times, and he didn't think that this would badly impact their relationship together. He didn't think that would change things. Ugh, no, man, that was annoying. That was so annoying. We were getting this cute and awkward love story, and then Kevin went and fucked it up. It's as if we can't get couples that don't involve a closeted bully when it comes to queer men. They're doing that on sex education as well, and I don't like it. I don't endorse it. I'm down with that sort of thing. Now, did it now. Let's take a breath. Okay. After all of that, with Chiron going to jail and them falling apart, we see this reinvented version of Chiron. Not only has he physically changed, but his personality has been altered to fit this person he is now. Black, as the character in the third act is referred to, Black is supposed to be the better Chiron. Unfortunately, even movies suffer from the pain of reality, because Chiron has changed, but he's still having these problems that he had as a teen. I'm saying problems because guys, there's a lot going on with him still, even with his mom getting back to her like healthy self. Even with him being like this grown man now, he's still having these problems that he had as a teen. So now he's projecting this image of him being this tough, big man, when in reality, I still feel like he's little soft Chiron, and that's fine. It was okay for him to be both, but he didn't know that at the time. Another person that's changed is teen Kevin, because adult Kevin is very different. He seemingly let go of all of the person that he was before. He's trying to do right by his child and himself this time. He's being more responsible and more mature, and that's great for Kevin. That's awesome for him. This doesn't erase what he did at all. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Yeah, maybe I'm different. Personally, I hold grudges, and a homophobic attack on your friend feels like a justified grudge to hold on to. Chiron doesn't hold it against him, and that's fine because it's him, it's not me. He must do what he likes. That's fine with me. When they meet up at the diner, they immediately go back to chatting like old friends. Well, technically, Kevin chats. Chiron is heavily distracted, which brings us back to, remember how I said every time he was speaking to Kevin, he had this like longing look in his face. It's coming back now, but it's so cute. You watch Chiron as Kevin talks, and he just talks and talks and talks. You watch Chiron just be extremely flustered, and he's uneasy because he still has strong feelings for this man. And I think that's adorable, but also it's horrible because I get it, I understand it. There are some people you meet in your life and they draw you in, but you won't fully understand what it is about that person. You never get to the bottom of what it is about this person that just kind of makes you so uneasy and just derails you so hard. You might not even date, you might not even kiss this person, but they simply have this lasting effect on you. Every time you see them, whether it's been weeks or months or years, they still have that effect on you. This is me speaking from experience. That's why I'm talking about it so confidently. Those kind of people are really annoying when they pop up in your life because you lose all your confidence. You thought you were a stronger person, but turns out you are not. All the confidence and all the growth you've built up can be derailed by this person just showing up. It's great when that person is good for you. It's bad when that person is bad for you. I hope for your sake, lovers, that all the people that do this to you are good for you. I wish that person wasn't Kevin. But Chiron found it in himself to forgive Kevin, and I cannot change that. We have a lot of movies about love that works like that, with the whole like, there's just this one person that will always be. There's lots of movies with people that are in those situations, but there's not a lot of them for the LGBTQ plus community that's not linked directly to pain. If you have a person like that in a queer story, there's always going to be links to pain. I appreciate this movie for what it does for Black queer representation and stories, because these cases do exist, and I'm glad that people get their stories told. May this be the first of many soft Black boy love movies we get to see, and may it turn into us getting soft black girl love movies or soft black non-binary movies. You know what I'm getting at? I essentially love what this movie did, and I wanted to turn into us making more movies on that wavelength of these two queer people that are underrepresented in media finding each other and loving each other. There's a beautiful thing that Chiron Rhodes, the man that plays adult Chiron, there's a beautiful thing he said about how Kevin, as the character in the movie, is Chiron's one. He is the one for him. Even when all those things went down, he's still the one for him. He imagines that they would be together for the long run. And I think that I think that's true. Like, I wish it wasn't, but I think that's true. This couple gives me long-term vibes. That closing scene where they're just like holding each other and Kevin's kind of scratching Chiron's head like gently. That's long-term for me. That's end goal for me, and I'm glad that they were the end goal for each other and that they found each other at the perfect time or the right time. And for that, I like this couple. I like this couple. Again, for anyone that wasn't completely sure after listening to me rant and rave, I love this film. I really do. Nothing in this world is perfect though, and every movie has its flaws. So, with that said, here are my likes and dislikes, folks. I already spoke briefly about how the lighting crew did a stellar job. They did stellar work, and how the cinematographer came in with the beautiful shots. But then I also want to take a moment to look at the score. I need to mention all three of those things: lighting, cinematography, and musical score together, because they're doing a lot for this film. It felt like I was witnessing this big old painting because it was so beautiful, and it was beautiful because all three of those departments were just working hand in hand to create this beautiful thing, this beautiful picture. I remember when I was watching it, I called it a cinematic painting, because that's what it feels like half the time. Half the time it feels like we're seeing art, and it's because of those three people. So I really like that. All three of those things together though into one thing that I like. I liked the positive relationship Little had with Juan being Mr. Mahershala Ali's character. Once again, in this house, we appreciate representation, and having a relationship like theirs on screen and having that relationship win awards, we get to see how important it is that little black boys get that black men as well. They kind of see the value in having relationships like that, where they can be vulnerable, where they can be open, where they can be whoever they need to be shamelessly. It's unfortunate that it ended the way that it ended, but for the time being, in those little moments where they were having fun, or they were connecting, where they were just being cute, I appreciate that, and I liked that for us, and I liked it for anyone that was watching it. We know what bad representation can do. So I like it when we get good representation. Yeah. I like that everyone impressed me. I said in the beginning that the cast was very great, even in the notable mentions. It's like hard to make a notable mention of everybody, but the cast was great. Everyone impressed me. I've never seen Harris or Monet in a role like this before, and they did really great at it. Like Ali, Hibbert, Sanders, Jerome, Holland, and Rhodes were absolutely shining in this for me. And I'm glad that it wasn't just me and that this movie got the hype that it deserved. Like, it's not just me being like, oh, okay, they did a great job. Like, they got the recognition as well. We're doing such a great job. So yeah, guys, invest in good casts because they do movie justice. On to my dislikes. I briefly said it and I want to repeat that I don't like how queer love stories revolve around pain and homophobia. More so this trend of gay men falling in love with people that were previously cruel to them because of internalized homophobia and also just societal pressures. We see it with Adam and Eric in Sex Education. We saw it in Glee with Kurt and that bully of his. Oh, I can't remember his name. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about though. You're making, as filmmakers and showmakers, you're making it seem like that's the only love where gay men are gonna get, the only love that they deserve. And that's not great. Like I said, we know what bad representation can do, so we appreciate good representation. And I think that needs to translate into this scenario. We need to kind of move away from speaking about queer love stories with pain. Obviously mention the pain because the pain is real. The homophobia is all real. But don't make me fall in love with my bully. Don't make me fall in love with my attacker just because, oh, that makes the story sound better. You are perpetuating an idea that I want to end, to like just cut off right now. Obviously, this doesn't take away from how great this movie is. I still want us to move away from this type of thing because personally I think it does more harm than good. No message is worth putting a character through that. But yeah, that's just me. I still love this film. So we reached the end of the show for the last time of the season. I had to for consistency's sake. This week on Who's Your Fave, we're keeping on the theme with Black Oscar-nominated couples, and I'm going to take from the contenders from the Oscars in the same year that this movie was a contender, and that was 2017. So yeah, 2017. Oscar-nominated Black couples. In this corner, we have Catherine and Jim Johnson from Hidden Figures. Obviously, I'm not talking about the real people because that's insane. I'm focusing mainly on the movie as it stands. They were adorable in it. I remember when I watched it and I thought, oh no, this is a cool couple. I like them. I like their dynamic. It's lovely to see, lovely to watch. And then in the other corner, we have Rose and Troy Maxon from Fences. We know Fences. It's the movie with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis as a married couple. I am ashamed to say I never got to finish it, and I've never gotten around to finishing it since that time when I started watching it. But from what I see, things were going great for them. I know that there's a plot twist at the end that changes how people see the couple, but since I haven't seen it, I don't know about it. So forgive me if this matchup seems like, dude, why would you put those two people against each other? Listen, I had a theme to fulfill, and I was gonna fulfill that theme. The poll will be up on Twitter. I'm so sorry. Last week, I don't know what happened. I was too busy doing who knows what. I forgot to put up the poll. I usually try to wait an hour before I put it up, but I promise you it will be up on our Twitter. It'll also be on our Instagram for like a short period of time. Thank you so much to everyone that has participated in Who's Your Fave. It's really nice to see some of you guys' choices, and it's helped me because judging from your choices, I realized like, okay, I want to talk about some of these couples now, just based on your guys' choices. So thank you so much for doing that. All of this to say, it's the end of the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following. Thank you for reviewing, which I hope you do. Join us, who knows when, at a date that will be later confirmed by I, for when we start season 2 again. I have a little surprise for you guys because it felt wrong to kind of end off the season with just like another regular episode. So look out on our socials. We have a surprise that will either be dropping a few hours after this drops, or maybe a few days. We're gonna see how that goes, but just watch out for that. Thank you for being with us. I hope you have a splendid day. I hope you have a splendid week. I hope the love of your life comes to your door, wanting to be with you because you deserve it. It's been your boy, Zama.x, nothing more, nothing less, from the east, not the west. Every day, try your very best. Thank you. Bye.